So here's Mark Carney from CBC Watcher. So I've been making videos about his many lies, documenting all of his many lies, and just stupid lies that are really easy to check and to debunk. I think he's going to have a major problem because he seems to be an inveterate liar, just a compulsive liar. He'll just say anything, right? He's just this progressive hobgoblin. He's this globalist, elitist hobgoblin, and I just don't see that he really has legs. Not when the real scrutiny starts, no matter how much the CBC tries to protect him. CBC Watcher says Carney is still having a hard time being clear when asked about pipelines. So he is absolutely opposed to pipelines. He's written about it. Well, he's opposed to pipelines in Canada. He likes them in Brazil, the United Arab Emirates. He likes them there, not in Canada. He's been very clear about it. He's written about it in his book. Let's see.
Premiers here in Alberta and Saskatchewan have been pushing hard for a pipeline to oil and gas, oil across the country to eastern Canada. If you were Prime Minister, would you support that?
I think there are a number of projects that are in the national interest, and they include energy projects that ensure as much as possible Canadian energy is used here at home, that it displaces, in the example that you just gave, displaces imports from the United States, from other countries. So in terms of moving projects like that forward, my government will look to do everything the federal government can do in order for them to move forward. We're a federation. There are other levels of government that need to come along. But again, this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for Alberta. It's an opportunity for Canada to move forward.
So unless unless you've taken a look at his book, for instance, and you know something about him, you know his history, you know that he's, UN climate finance envoy, the COP26 stuff. He ran the ESG division of a Brookfield Asset Manager. Unless you know all of this about him, you wouldn't catch what he's actually saying here. Okay? So let's watch that again.
Premiers here in Alberta and Saskatchewan have been pushing hard for a pipeline to move oil and gas, oil across the country to eastern Canada. If you were Prime Minister, would you support that?
I think there are a number of projects that are in the national interest, and they include energy projects that ensure as much as possible Canadian energy is used here at home, that it displaces.
Yeah, okay, he's talking about using Canadian energy in Canada, but we also desperately need to sell it to the rest of the world. And guess what? The rest of the world also really needs it. Let's continue.
In the example that you just gave, displaces imports from the United States.
Okay, so energy here at home that displaces energy from the United States. He's talking about green projects here. He's talking about like windmills and shit. Okay, he's not going to use the word pipelines, and that's very intentional. Let's continue.
States from other countries. So in terms of moving projects like that forward, my government will look to do everything the federal government can do in order for them to move forward. We're a federation. There are other levels of government that need to come along. But again, this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for Alberta. It's an opportunity for Canada to.
When he says it's an opportunity for Alberta, what he means, he's talking about the opportunity that he references in his book, which is the opportunity to take advantage of new technologies, green technologies, right? He talks in his book, he says in his book, in the introduction to his book, that he's going to dismantle the energy sector in Alberta and replace it with green something fantasy, cricket farms or something, right? That's what he's saying here. Your average Canadian is going to listen to this and not realize what he's saying, but he has said it. This is exactly in line with everything that he has said that he believes, right? He's very careful not to use the word pipelines there. Ain't going to be no pipelines, right? He's already promised Quebec no pipelines in Quebec. That's a bit of a problem. This stuff is going to come out. He's not going to be able to hide it. Let's see. What did he say here? No mention of pipelines, no mention of displacing coal abroad with ethical Canadian LNG. It's because he has no intention of doing that. He's still the climate zealot he has always been. Yes. Let's see, from Ross McKittrick. Unlike when talking about Brookfield or semiconductors, yes, he claimed that Canada provides the U.S. with almost all of its semiconductors, and we could just, they could just stop arriving. Yeah, it's like less than 1%. Less than 1%. This is the genius economist, apparently. Here he is very precise in his wording, so later he can insist that he never promised pipelines. He only plans green energy projects but doesn't want to admit it openly. He wrote a book about it. I mean, he says in the book that he's going to dismantle Alberta's energy sector, and there'll be great new green fantasy opportunities for them there. But it'll be hard, he says. It'll be hardest in Alberta. He's not beating around the bush on it like he is here. In his book, he's not. This man he's a globalist hobgoblin. He is a UNWEF hobgoblin. He does not have noble intentions for Canada. He wants to turn Canada into his little, into his laboratory for all of his utopian ideas. Canadians need to know that. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.